Whoop, 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 whoop. Hey, y'all know what time it is. It's story time, y'all. We are so excited to be here once again. Tonight, I just want to let you know on YouTube, StreamYard, Facebook, welcome. We're so excited to have you. How you doing, Terrence?
Good, Crystal.
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
Instagram, I need you to come over to YouTube. I need you to come to YouTube because my guest couldn't come over here tonight. So we're kind of partial to YouTube. APW Shout Crystal. Meet me over there. APW Shout Crystal. I'm not trying to neglect you, but that's what it is tonight. All right. It's your time to shine, Terrence. That's what's happening tonight. So I just want to let you know we are doing it tonight, but we are on YouTube at APW Shout Crystal. So please come join us. We would love to see you there. Please come join us, okay? And we'll be here for you. Terrence, it's your time to shine, man. It is your time to shine on this Sunday evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me, Crystal.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. It's been a long time. St. Aug in the house.
Don't count the years.
Uh-oh. That's okay. It's a proud thing. It's a proud thing to still be among the land of the living. You know what I'm saying? So listen,
Right.
a lot of people here may not know who Terrence Perry is. They may not know that history about you. So I'm gonna get into some stuff that I read on your bio and everything, but I always like to give my guests the opportunity to tell a little bit about who was Terrence Perry, the little boy, back in the day, before you became the author, before you became the survivor and everything. Tell people a little bit about who is TP.
TP. TP was the little boy named Tony back in the day. My middle name was Antonio, so everybody called me Tony. Now, back in the day, I was a stutterer. Anybody that know me from school back in the day, I was a stutterer, and that was kind of how I flowed, just keeping my mouth shut. But as I got older, by the time I got to, I grew up, and by the time I got to St. Aug, um, and I go into that later, but by the time I got to St. Aug, I think my second year, I was able to speak, and I guess that's when y'all started hearing my voice.
So let me ask you something. When you were a little boy, where were you raised? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Franklin County, which is probably about 20, probably less than 20 miles past Wake Forest.
Okay, so you're from North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah.
Been in North Carolina all your life?
All my life. Yeah.
Wow. So how was it growing up? You were stuttering. So back then, was you a dreamer? Did you dream about being an author? Did you dream about having your own business?
All I could do was dream. But yeah, I was, we was in a rural area. I had 8 brothers and sisters. It was 9 of us. We stayed in probably four a 4-room house. I was going to say a 4-bedroom, but no, it was 4 rooms. For at least my first 10 years of life, we stayed in a 4-room. It was on farmland, so there weren't any neighbors. There weren't any neighbors for like I said, and then probably in 69 or 70, 1970 is when we actually moved in a black community that was up and coming. So we kind of, as the Jeffersons say, we was moving on up at that point.
Wow. Okay. So before you became the author and did everything, middle school, high school, I know you went to St. Augustine, what we call St. Aug College back in the day. So talk to me about that. Back in those days, was you an ambitious person, or what was life like for you?
Life for me, like I said, I was a stutterer, so my mindset was kind of wrapped around it. By the time I got in middle school, I was introduced into to bricklaying. So between bricklaying and basketball, I knew I was going to do one or the other. But by the time I got in high school, I was still playing basketball, still laying bricks. And um, I started working. Actually, the bricklaying instructor, he would take us out to work, doing, right, go to school half a day, and then we go work the other half. But I realized, my dream of playing basketball wasn't gonna, it wasn't gonna flourish. My game won't. I found that out when I got to St. Aug, that my game won't that tight. When I seen all those 6'8" and 6'9" and 6'7" guys, I knew, the guys that were my height were playing point guard, and they had handles. And
Yeah. So what years were you at St. Aug, Terrence?
I got to St. Aug in '79.
Okay, so you were there when I was a sophomore. Okay.
And
Okay.
I
So
dropped
that
out of
year,
semester.
we had an awesome team back then. That was the Anthony Bogans and the
Yeah.
Reggie Max and all of them. Oh yeah.
Every year we had a good team, from the whole time I was there. I mean, and I didn't leave until '84. I dropped out 2 semesters, that financial aid, and but I would, I was working full time, so I would get back in at St. Aug. Probably dropped out probably sophomore year for a semester. Got back, but by '84 I was out of there. So
Wow. So
took a minute.
now I know that since I've met you in the last couple of years when we reconnected, I know you talked a lot about your recovery and some of your addictions, the alcohol and the adversity. I know you focus a lot on that and you focus on helping others to rebuild their lives and overcome those things. So talk to me about that. When did you begin to go down that road of your recovery and how did you get there?
Well, hey, before I got to that recovery, I was in that addiction. So, if I think like I said, I came out of St. Aug in '84, um, probably within the middle, I know the mid '80s and later '80s, cocaine was out there. By the late '80s, I think I had started. I was always drinking. I had always been a drinker, but I had started snorting cocaine. I think in like '88, '89, probably '90. But by '91, by '91, I had met this female from California, and we were doing cocaine, but she introduced me to crack cocaine, and that was where the downward spiral for, I mean, at least a straight year, maybe year and a half, that my career, everything. I mean, if you're doing crack cocaine on a regular basis, and I was doing it on a regular basis by that time, it was down here. So, and I probably was what, like 31, maybe 32. I didn't see myself living past 32.
Mm.
At that point, I thought that's what was going to take me out.
Wow. So you met this individual, she turned you on, you went down that road of addiction, and how did you get out of it? Or let me ask you this, before you got out of it, I'm sure you had some losses, I'm sure you had some challenges along the way.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, with the with cocaine, like I said, I probably started snorting cocaine in, like I said, probably '88, '89, maybe doing a holiday or doing or a celebration of some kind. It wasn't a regular thing, but by the beginning of the '90s, that snorting cocaine became more regular. Going to the clubs, when you left the club, that's what we did. But by probably by '91 or '92, when I met this female from California, and probably 3 weeks after being introduced to her, we started doing crack cocaine. But that downward spiral, it really was spending a lot of money, and I probably was spending. I could spend $1,000 on a weekend. Just staying in a hotel room all weekend getting high.
So when you say downward spiral, explain that to the viewer who might not know.
Downward spiral meaning I was I was working with the state. I didn't necessarily get fired from the state, but I knew it was time to leave. I started staying out of work and having issues at work, and I was working part time. I was working in a addiction facility during that time. And funny thing, the young lady I was trying to stop, stop doing the cocaine, and so I had to leave the young lady alone. So when I tried to break up with her, she called a job and told them what we was doing. So when I came in to work, they drug tested me, right, right there on the spot. They drug tested me, and so I lost that job. But
Wow.
the job I had with the state, I had done quit. I had quit that job. So now, I wasn't making the money that I was making, and that relationship became. I mean, it was just so toxic. It was, we were more or less, how everything was a game. It
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
became gaming,
Well, I
hanging out
tell
in
you
the
what,
street.
I want to get into a surefire conversation about this, and I want us to really help those who might be in a situation, because I know you could share with some people how to avoid the red flags, and looking back at some things. I'm sure there's some things that you now help others with, because now you go out and you focus on helping people in recovery, with addictions and with alcohol and with adversities, and you even wrote a book about it, right?
Yeah, I did. Um, in my most recent writings, I do write about my addiction, or and I write about recovery, and not just mine. I just write about it in general with people who I've came in contact with the work that I've done. So I write about it along those lines. Um, the
And
last
have
book
you
I
had
did
people to
was,
tell you that they have actually gotten something from your book? Have you had people to tell you that? Because I know you go out and you speak and you do a lot of different things to help empower people. How are they receiving you?
well, I mean, I've done it because I became certified as a life coach. And so I've used the book as a coaching tool when I'm talking to people in recovery myself. I've now worked with men and women when it comes to addiction and recovery. So they've responded well, but see, I've worked through some organizations, and with some of the organizations, I know there was one big organization that I was contracted with that uh, women wanted me to coach them that were coming out of addiction and recovery, but the organization head didn't want me to coach them. He was like, "No, you don't need to coach these females." I took it as a slight, you know. Um, I'm like, why? Because I'm a well-dressed black man, and you want to look at me as a what, a pimp or something? I didn't know, but I took it as a slight that these adults, my take is that if an adult want to be coached, I don't care whether it's male or female, they can be coached by whoever they want to. That's their decision, and that should stay their decision.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
Wow. Well, I want us to really talk about some things. What are some of the main things that you try to, or not try, that you do convey to those that have made a decision? They've been through the experimentation and the exploration and the exploitation of everything that they did with being out there on these drugs. What are some of the things that you tell them they need to do once they make their mind up that they want to get clean?
I mean, I really just lay it on the line. You have to separate yourself from the things that you did in the past, the people that you were hanging around, and and that mindset. But before I could actually get them to understand and change their mindset, is really having to get them to understand that you do have to leave those people that you were either getting high with, or and you have to, not that you can't be friends from a distance, but you can't continue to hang out with those people if you're not trying to go back to doing that, because at some point, you know, you're going down a slippery slope. And I know from my own recovery, I had to tell all my friends in the past that that I had gotten high with, that that's not that's not what I'm about anymore. So I can't hang out with you. It ain't
And
the way
that's
you
the
feel cool.
people, places, and things.
Yeah, the places you used to hang out, you can't hang out at those places no more. And but that was based on my experience, and I was sharing my experiences with the people that I was coaching. Is that's how I saved myself from from going down that road of addiction any further, was to separate myself. And you have to have faith. I had faith in God. After all was said and done, it was my faith that was going to take me to where I really wanted to get to.
Right.
But I had to believe in myself, and the only way that I could believe in myself was I had to believe in my God.
Yeah. So
You
I
know.
see that between the ages of 36 to 40, you had a part in there where you wrote drinking or Christianity. And is that where you made that decision?
Well, that was the drinking, but now I was past the cocaine addiction. Like I said, was only about a year and a half or 2 years, but I was still drinking.
Okay.
I started drinking at the age of 13, and so I was still drinking, and I was thinking that drinking wasn't a big deal, but I had already gotten a DWI, and by then I had gotten a couple of more DWIs, and that was a realization that now drinking is an issue.
Right.
So, um, but even when I turned 40, I started a business with because I had been working with teenagers for 20 years prior to that. So I started a business for teenage boys and girls, and I had stopped drinking for probably, I want to say 7 years, or right at 7 years. I had stopped drinking, but then I started back. And when I had stopped drinking for those 7 years, I was more involved in the church. But I started stepping, I started letting my old friends come back in.
Uh-huh. Uh-oh.
And when
Yeah,
the
that
old friends came back around that I used to, party and get high with, then I opened the door for that to come back, to come back again. And that's what happened.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Do me a favor, T, slide to the left, to
that's what.
your left. Yeah, perfect. So I'm so glad you said that. So you were aware that that happened. So you were conscious of it. And what'd you do? You kind of cut yourself off again. You said, no, I'm not going down this road.
Well, I thought I could handle the drinking because, like I said, it wasn't cocaine. This was just drinking, and I had been drinking since the age of 13. So it had never stopped me before. Drinking wasn't a big deal, but after getting DWIs, not just one, but two, and then three, then I realized that now that was going to hurt. It was going to hurt my business because it took me away from being focused. I'm like, I started back partying again, and I was like, by then I was probably 46 to 47 years old. And I'm back out in the clubs partying again, and I was like, hold up, I done been there and done all of that. I thought I was done with that. And I stayed out there for a while, for probably about 4 years. I was like, I could handle it. But I was hanging out with, I'm gonna say I was hanging out with a bunch of fools, as I was being a fool myself, drinking, partying, hanging out in liquor houses, juke joints, playing cards all night. I was back to that scene, and I was like, I had to ask myself, is that what I really wanted in my life?
Right,
Uh,
right, right.
and so by
So
then, yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
you decided you wanted to be a business owner. What step did you take to become a business owner? What did you go get some help? Did you go get, you said you became a certified life coach. Tell me about, I want to go back a minute. I want to go back to that breaking point. When did you make the decision that enough was enough with the crack, with the cocaine, with the drinking? What was the breaking point that made you say, okay, this is it?
The breaking point was at four. I was 49 years old. I was facing another DWI, and so at that point, I realized, and by that point too, I had, I won't say lost my house, but I actually did kind of put myself in a situation where I let my house go. My car got repossessed, so I was like, hold up, man. I had, when I told you, when I was 40, I went into business and I made more money than I ever made, between 40 and 48. But when I started back drinking around 47, that was taking me away from the focus of the business and the growth that I had made. So by the time I was 49, I got another DWI. And I said at that point, I was like, let me get through this and I'm done with that.
Wow.
I didn't say it that nicely, but that's what I was telling myself. Once I get done with this DWI, for us, I did my community service. I paid my dues, went to court. Of course, I lost the case, but I had done everything that I was supposed to do. I was ended up, they was asking me to do weekends in jail. I would go down to the jail every weekend, but I didn't have to do the time. They was like, you just sign in and you can go back home. And I was glad, that was really getting a break.
Wow.
But at that point, I realized, hey, it's time to put that stuff aside. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of those type of, going to court for a DWI, hanging around, I'm out at the club drinking all night. And so I was just tired of it. I was sick and tired of it.
Okay. So now, what's the name of the business that you started?
The business now is Perry Nation Platforms.
Perry Nation Platforms. Okay. Okay. And so that's where you offer the life coaching program. And what else is a part of that?
The books, I offer the life coaching, the books, and now I'm in the process of turning all the books into audio books.
Okay.
And I'm also now we're working on a reentry council for men and women that's coming out of prison, coming out of jail.
Like recidivism, to prevent recidivism, them going back and repeating.
Right.
Okay.
To prevent that, but my mindset is that's to help the family, not just the individual, but anytime an individual goes to prison or goes to jail, it upsets the whole dynamics of that family. So my thing is, like I said, I worked with teenagers for over 25 years, and for most of the teenagers who I worked with, there was always someone taken out of the home. Generally, it was the male, the father. And a lot of times the family was kind of in an uproar because that male figure wasn't there. And sometimes it was the female that wasn't there.
And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad that you're sharing that, because that's the reason why we enjoy story time. With people, they learn from other people's experiences, and we have to share the stories because there's somebody else who may be going through exactly what you went through. So I'm glad that you decided to be transparent about it, because there's a lot of people who probably, they go through this stuff quietly. They go through it, they're ashamed. They don't want nobody to know. Their family may know because, of course, they're going through spending the money and going through the issues with their significant other or their wives or husbands. But it is more people that need to speak out and share what they've gone through, because others need to know that it can be, it can be overcome. You can beat this thing, but you can't do it by yourself. You have to have a system, and you have to give it somebody who's been there and walked in your shoes and is willing to help you along the way. So if somebody wants to get your help, if somebody wants to contact you, how should they contact you?
Well, they can contact me through my email, which is tperry5000@gmail.com. You can contact me by phone. My phone number is 919-986-6046. I'm also affiliated with Justice Serve, with Diana Power. You can contact me through the
So
Justice Serve organization.
you said tperry5000@gmail?
Yeah, tperry5000@gmail.com.
Or you said they can call what number?
919-986-6046. You can call me directly.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll definitely make sure we get that to them so they can have that. We want to put that on the screen so people can see directly how they can reach out to you. So contact Terrence Perry at tperry5000@gmail.com or call him at 919-986-6046. 046 directly. So you're working with Diana Powell too.
I work with Diana Power, Dennis Gaddy. I mean, because a lot of the reentry work I've done alongside them, and I'm also I'm working with the local the Franklin County reentry. Now we're putting a council together down in Franklin County, and so Diana and Dennis and some of the others in Wake County have helped, and they are supporting us in putting the reentry council together in Franklin County. So we got that approved as a 501c3 probably maybe no more than 6 weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So now what are your goals with your 501c3? What are you looking to do?
Well, we're doing the again. We're helping men and women that's coming out of prison or jail, but because that's my hometown, so I wanted to kind of give back to where I started from, not just here in Raleigh, but also be in Franklin County.
Nice, nice. So any projects coming up that you all have set up, any type of events or anything particular, or right now it's just the basic program?
Right now, just the basic program. We do have events that's going to be coming up in April, but we haven't set the dates are not set exactly. We're going to the Reentry Council I think it'll be in Charlotte in I think April the 2nd and 3rd, maybe April the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then once we get back, we'll start doing some local things in the Franklin County area. But I'm sure it's going to be some things that they're doing in Wake County that I'm not even aware of. We got a big meeting that's coming up Thursday, and so that's going to be they'll be filling everybody in on what's coming up with the reentry. That's really my main focus right now, is the reentry work with the men and women that's coming out of prison, coming out of jail. We want to make sure that we're helping them to get their probation and parole stuff done. We went to the Supreme Court with Dennis Gadd and them probably a couple of weeks ago, because a lot of the felons coming out, it's hard for them to find jobs. It's hard for them to get to work, and we need them to be able to vote. And one of the issues that came up was they can't vote unless they're, all of their stuff is paid off.
I do remember that Diana also had a program against helping people to get expunged. I remember.
Yeah.
They got the expungement program too. So some great
that's going to be coming up again too.
Yeah, because I worked along with her a while back on that. So that's a beautiful thing. So I'm so glad that you are doing the coaching program and everything and allowing people to hear from you. And I looked at some things you talked about in your book. From everything, I see the way you broke everything down. It's interesting. I saw the part where you put stock, spades, and strippers. Boy, you had some interesting times. Boy, went through the stripper stages to spades and strippers and stocks. Wow. Then I saw how you went into your entrepreneurship and you started serving the youth and giving back. Isn't it interesting how we go through some stuff? Free time and free wine. Talking about living your best life out there, just drinking it up, right? And not really knowing that it was going to lead to those legal issues and a dysfunctional alcoholic behavior. So when you got to that point in your life, when you started dealing with those legal issues and dysfunctional alcoholic behavior, if you think back now, what is one of the biggest things that you took away from that you share with people in your coaching program?
I mean, I would say probably the biggest thing is just recognizing early that, that those things are addictive, first and foremost, because I didn't, I thought I could beat anything. I was like, I'm not going to get addicted to anything. I didn't think that I could.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, you're human. You can get addicted just like anybody else. And at which point you figure out that you're addicted, it's, oftentimes it's already, I won't say too late, but you're already addicted by the time you and usually people don't recognize the true addiction until they either get involved with the court system or some legal issue or a financial setback. Then you start realizing how it's affecting you. But if it don't affect those things, you keep doing them, you know. But let it start affecting that pocketbook. Let it start affecting, you either being out or either going to jail. Then you'll start paying attention.
And so I love the way you broke this down, because then I see how you went to from the legal and dysfunctional alcoholism to the rescue, resurrection, and renaissance. I love it. And then you went to the critical thing that most people need to do, which is self-evaluation. That self-evaluation is so key. People, they don't want to look in the mirror. They want to point the finger at somebody else. They always want to say, you, and they don't understand what part they played in it. When did you get that revelation that you had to look at yourself?
Well, like I said, when I turned 50 and I was facing another, I got the DWI at 49, but I didn't go to court until I was 50. We put it off for probably about 9 months or so. But at that point, I had to realize, at 50 years old, do you really want to be going through this kind of foolishness was what I had to ask myself. Really? You done been through it before. You done beat the cocaine addiction, I had got a DWI in 1996. Okay, I had already overcame that. Now here I am again at 50. Do I want to repeat that cycle again?
Wow.
So I really have to pay attention to the patterns in my life. Everybody got patterns when you look at it in your life. And if you look at those patterns, you can tell what kind of life you're living or what kind of life you've already led.
And you broke that thing down, because then you even went into the servant leadership as an author, a life coach, and how you started unleashing and unmasking the inner personality and self-expression. So this is really, really good. I love the way you did that. And then you started talking about the things that you went through. I guess that really contributed to your mindset and your grief when it came to your death and devastation and determination, because we do go through things. We do go through life. Life happens. And so along with our own mistakes, now we have to also deal with the things that's happening in our life. So, and I see that you went through some illnesses, the COPD and emphysema and stuff like that. So
well, that was my father.
That's scary.
Yeah, but no, my father went through that.
Your father had it. Okay.
He died in 2018, and so he was experiencing those things. And in 20, and I had two brothers that died last year. Part of it was COVID related, but it was those health conditions that they had that contributed for the most part. So, life got real heavy, I think, the past, when we experienced the pandemic, life for me got real heavy because I seen a lot of, not just family, but family and friends. I was going to funerals every week, and it got grief heavy. I didn't think that it was affecting me the way it was, but I realized that my sadness didn't, it wasn't going away. So I felt like I needed some grief counseling.
As a man, how hard is that? Because men are so tough. Men are, they always got to have their muscles up and they're flexing and they don't want nobody to know they're going through nothing. What made you do that? What made you recognize that and say, I'm going to get some help. I'm going to get some grief counseling because I'm feeling some kind of way and I need to talk to somebody. What made you do that?
Well, I had been doing some men healing groups right before the pandemic, from back in 2018, like I said, around the time when my father was passed. I was doing men's healing groups then, and I continued those groups until early 2020. I think I had to stop in March, right when everything went to shutdown. So I was already talking with men on a weekly basis about how men need to open up and how we need to to support one another and to help each other to heal and just open up and share some things that we don't normally talk about. Forget we can talk sports all day and music, but can we really talk about some deeper issues? And so I was 60 years old in 2020. At that point, a lot of men experience prostate issues and other health conditions, particularly as Black men. So I was ready. I was ready and willing to have those hard conversations during that.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to hear about your losses with your dad and your brothers and your best friend and everything that you went through. I'm happy that you were able to go get the counseling, and I'm happy that you're sharing this with people. So you've written up to 6 books?
I've written I've written 15 books that's already published, but just the past I think in the past 6 months I've written 4 more books now.
So
They're
wait a
not
minute, hold
published.
on. You got 15 books out there. Are these books all out? Where are they? Where can people get these
Well,
books?
they're on those books are on Amazon. You can go to you can go to just I mean you can just Google Terrence Perry books on that. You can just Google Terrence Perry books and you'll see they'll come up, or you can go to Amazon and just put my name in it. Books by Terrence Perry
So
and
we
all.
got you got to help because I wrote 4 and I published 2. I got the other 2 that I need to publish. Are you self-publishing all yours?
Yeah, I'm self-publishing all of mine. Like I said, I just did about 4 more that I'm getting ready, but I'm turning all the books into audio books now. So even the books that I've just written, I have the manuscripts, but I hadn't put them on Amazon yet because I want to. Now I'm not using Amazon self-publishing. I'm doing the audio books on the authorsrepublic.com.
Okay, good for you. I'm
So they'll
so
all be out by
glad.
April. I mean, all 4 of the books will be out. They sent us around. There's a book around reentry that I did. There's another book that sent us around recovery, and I think that the other 2 books, it's along the same line. Everything I do now is about healing, emotional healing.
Yeah.
I got a book about the black, fatherless sons and daddyless daughters that's going to be out.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so
a big
proud of
book.
you.
Hey,
Wow.
you can contribute some of
Awesome.
that to St. Aug.
Awesome. We got to get you. I gotta get you over on other platforms so people can know about you and learn about you and share. I want to make sure I share this on all the platforms so they can really hear this and put your links. So I need you to send me your link so we can make sure that they can go and get these books. That's so good. I always talk about how we need to get it out. And so I see that you don't have a problem with that. You know how to get it out. Like
Well, see,
you get it
I
out.
was a stutterer. I was a stutterer, so I couldn't get it out for a long time. So now, as an adult that's not stuttering, now I have those platforms, whether it be writing or speaking. So yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
about getting it out now. But
Wow, that's amazing. I'm so glad to see that. So let me ask you this. Wow, that's so cool. So just Google Terrence Perry. If you Google his name, you're going to see all that. It's there, it's out there. That's amazing. I like to tell people Google me. So when you can say that's when you know you're doing something. That's when you know you're using your voice. That's when you know you're walking in your calling. You're getting it out. So that's really cool. Terrence, so what next? What's the next big thing on your project? You're writing the books, you're doing the life coaching, you're collaborating. What next?
I'm trying to stay right there for a minute, with the reentry work that I'm doing now and the books. I want to, to package that a little bit better than I've packaged it, and I want to keep putting that out there. We want to keep expanding those reentry programs all around the state of North Carolina.
Okay, so now let me switch up a little bit. So, well dressed, 63 now, going on 64.
No,
Did
you
you?
63. I'm 62. You got me a year.
Oh, you're 62, going on 63.
I'll be
So
60.
single? You still single?
Still single.
So what? If there's a woman watching here and saying that's a nice looking man, he's single. How tall are you?
6'3".
6'3", single, former athlete, still in shape, got yourself together now. So what's going on there? You looking for that right woman or what's going on?
Hey, she'll show up.
To show up.
She'll show up. I can't, I don't chase. I ain't chasing nothing. And I just feel like, hey, when the time is right, the two shall meet. We'll go from there.
Okay.
But
Well,
you
I
know,
wish.
ain't nothing now. Ain't knocking being single either. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. Single is nothing wrong with being single. You know,
Nothing wrong with it.
sometimes people it allows you to be focused. It allows you to be focused. Now,
Amen.
some people at some point they get tired of it, but it is nothing wrong with it. So that is true. That is very true. And it's safe. It's a safe way. You don't have to worry about no drama, none of that other stuff.
Thank you. I done dealt with enough drama in my life. So, you know, at this age and stage, like I said, I like to write and I like to write any time of night. I don't know if a woman want to put up, I might be up at 2 in the morning if I feel, you know, if the writing spirit hit me, I'm up
Wow.
at 2 in the morning writing or, you know,
Yeah. Okay.
whenever
Okay.
I want to. Yeah.
Well, that's good. So, is there anything that you would like to share that I haven't asked you about?
Well, let me say this. I got the website. I'm I'm redoing my website. That's why I said to Google. You could Google me, but the website again is going to be perinationplatform.com.
Now, how are you spelling that?
What's that? Perination?
Oh, so PERRYNATION
Yeah, platforms.
platforms with an S.
Yeah.
So is it perinationplatforms.com?
Yeah. And
Okay.
it'll be up. It should be up in, if not this week coming up. I guess I'll say it'll have to be in the beginning of March.
So Google perinationplatforms.com.
Well, don't Google that yet because it's not going to come up. Now you can just Google Terrence Perry. Just Google Terrence Perry for the books.
But be on the lookout. Be
Be on
on
the
the
lookout,
lookout for
yeah,
that in about by next month for sure.
for sure. Yep.
Be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, be on the lookout, and that's going to be their new website.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll definitely do that for perinationplatforms.com in the near future. All right. Well, we definitely want the people to know they can look for that. And they'll do that. They'll be on the lookout for perinationplatforms.com. In the meantime, if they want to reach out to you, they can email you at Terrence Perry,
For sure.
at
Yeah.
tperry5000 at gmail, or call you at 919-986-6046. Okay, Terrence. So, any closing comments that you would like to leave the people?
No, but I do have a question for you, Crystal, because
Question for me?
yeah, because you was lost about the last week or so. I was trying to get up with you, but I found out you was celebrating your birthday and you was at a woman's retreat. So that's when I figured out, oh, that's why I can't get in touch with you.
That's
How
right.
was that?
Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I can't seem to fix my clothes here. Y'all forgive me.
I seen the photos you
Trying to get this
put out
stuff
there.
together. Oh, it was absolutely amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I had a good time. I always spend a lot of time for others. So I am now trying to do some things for me. And that's so important, to take time out for us. We that are givers, we that are caregivers, we that are just extroverts and always used to doing for others. It is so important that we take time out to give back to ourselves. So this past week, I had an amazing time doing that. It was really, really good to me. It was
I was
good.
glad to see it. You was look like you was glowing.
I'm looking forward to doing more of that. I'm looking forward to doing more of that for sure. I have to. We have to. If not
Yes.
now, when? That's my thing. If not now, when? So I'm
Yeah.
going to do that.
Well, and hey, by the same token, I say the same thing. One of my taglines is, "We only get so many tomorrows."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. We only get so many, so we have to go ahead and
Get
do
so
what we
many
have to do.
tomorrows.
Definitely. But listen, man, I just want to thank you for coming and giving us time to talk to you, to be able to just help some people to find out what it's like, to overcome these obstacles that we get. A lot of times we have so many obstacles, and a lot of people, like I said, they suppress it, they hide it, they don't tell it. And it's so important that we share what we go through. And you are just doing an amazing job of writing it out and putting it in books. So we will definitely tell everybody to just Google Terrence Perry, like Google him, and you'll see all these books out there. And get with him and reach out to him about his life coaching. Find out how he can collaborate with you. He has a 501c3 now, so that's amazing. You can reach out to him and see what he can do. Give me a call. Let's see if we can connect. Cause I have 501c3 too. See if we can do something here in Raleigh.
Yeah, we
So that would
definitely
be
want to do
good.
that.
So let's try to do that for sure. And let's see how we can help the people some more. I'm just making sure in the process of helping the people that I also help myself as well.
Yeah, got to.
But I thank you so much for all you're doing. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of the Falcon pride.
There
We
you
got
go.
that pride in there, but just proud to know that you're doing good. I enjoy watching you when you get in that car and you got that music and you be cruising. You be cruising with the old school music.
Look, I started that when the pandemic hit, and we was at home most of the time, and all thing you could do was get in the car and ride.
That's right.
Sometimes you couldn't visit people, you couldn't,
That's right.
So I started just getting in the car, listening to that music, and I would just ride maybe 30 miles or so, and just ride back home.
Yeah, that's true. Because
That
that was a
kind of
safe place. It was a safe place inside the car, right? You have to worry about
safe
it.
space, man, and music. I mean, you can't. If you ever want to center yourself, you always got to, just get into your groove with your music. And
And just while you're in your car, all you have to do is let the window down and get that air. Oh my goodness. You can't go wrong with the air, man. You definitely can't go wrong. So I know that's really cool. But Terrence, I definitely want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share with the people about Terrence Perry. I definitely do. And I need to make sure I fix that. You spell your name Terrance, right?
no, ENT.
It is EN because I saw something that
Yeah.
said what? I saw something that said AN.
Oh
So
yeah,
it
with
is
an A. I see. The people will put an A in my name for some reason, but
okay.
if
So
they
that's
ever,
why I said it because I want to make sure. So I did put an E here. So it
you
is
got it spelled right. Yeah,
okay. So
you
good.
got it
So because
spelled
I've
right.
seen the A, but it should be an E.
I've
Okay,
seen
cool,
an A. Yeah, you
cool.
see an A in it sometime. But again, because hey, I appreciate you having me on, man, and I appreciate the stuff that you are doing out here in the community. Also, I think we definitely want to collaborate more this year going forward, particularly with the other organizations that I'm connected to and you're connected to. So, we're gonna
Yeah, let's
connect
make
them.
that happen for sure. Let's make that happen. I need to get you over on IG and let people meet you. So we'll go over there and we'll do that as well. So I'm gonna call you, okay, and we'll share this and we'll post this. And in the meantime, I do believe that maybe, just maybe, this might be on LinkedIn. I'm looking at something here, so this may have gone on LinkedIn too. So from a business standpoint, if there's a corporation or a business owner that wants to get with you, also we'll remind them that they need to go ahead and just reach out to you and email or call you directly for any business endeavors to speak. Are you available for speaking engagements this year?
For sure. For
Okay,
sure. Oh yeah.
okay. And so Terrence Perry is available for speaking engagements too. Okay, y'all. So reach out to him. My name is Crystal Bodie Smith. This is Story Time. If you have a story to tell, please don't hesitate because we all have a story, and it is so important that we learn from each other's life experiences. So we do Story Time on Sundays at 6 p.m., Tuesdays at 8 p.m. up until mid-March. I may have to change it, but we'll find out. But right now, that is still the schedule. We are actually booked through the end of March right now. So we have guests from now till April. And if you go to APW Shout Crystal, APW Shout Crystal is where you can see all our guests, learn about all their stories and everything. It is so amazing to hear all the different things. And we look to hear from you. Terrence, you have an amazing night. I want to thank you once again. I want to thank y'all that have come through,
All
those that
right.
come back and do the replay. And we'll see you next time on Story Time, okay? Have a blessed evening. My mission is to stir up the gift, instill hope, and save lives. I'll
All
see
right,
you
Chris.
there. All right, bye-bye.